If I create a video because of your comment, I'll give you a shout out. So be sure to let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. This video is going to be part of a series on how to install various IDEs that will allow you to program Arduino without using the Arduino IDE. The Arduino IDE is a good IDE to use if you're just getting started because you don't need to know anything about setting up frameworks and setting up environments. But there are some things that are lacking in the Arduino IDE because it just hasn't been developed as much as some of the other IDEs that are out there. So I just wanted to run through a couple different ones to show you the things that are out there. To start with, I wanted to go with the one that's kind of the easiest, probably step up from Arduino IDE, and that's called Atom. This IDE is currently owned and managed by Github. And so the website is currently atom.io. It's ATOM. If you just go to that site, you can click the download button and it'll download your exe. All right, and now I can run my exe. Okay, so as you can see, pretty quick install. And this is what you open up to. Now, by default, this IDE is not set up to run or to allow you to program in Arduino. Arduino is C++, however, you need all of the compilers and libraries for Arduino in order to be able to program in Arduino. So, what we need to do is install a package called PlatformIO. And PlatformIO is a tool that is used with various IDEs. You can use the same tool, PlatformIO, with 10 or 12 different IDEs. It allows you to program with Arduino using any one of those IDEs through the PlatformIO package. So what I'm going to do here is install a package. I believe you can also go to File Settings, and then go to Packages, and then you can package here. So if you don't see that sidebar, when you open it up, you can click this. We're going to look for PlatformIO. Oh, that's for installed packages. Sorry about that. So we're going to go with PlatformIO. And we want this one, PlatformIO-IDE. So we're going to click install. This will do it for us automatically. Now, PlatformIO IDE uses CLang, and actually it's showing me right here that it needs to install it. So what I'm going to do is click that. It opened up actually in a different tab, so I'll bring that over here and show you. Okay, and it mentioned on the website that PlatformIO currently only supports CLang 3.9 and not CLang 4.0. So when you download, make sure you get the 3.9. If you're running 64-bit Windows, which is likely, go ahead and download that version and then just install this. Okay, we're going to hit next. Of course, we're going to read the licensing agreement, which I've, of course, already read, right? I agree. Now, we want to add the path for all users. Technically, current user would also work, but just to be safe, you might as well add it for all users. You don't need to create a desktop icon. And we can use the default destination path, or you can change it if you want. And go ahead and add our folder for the menu. Installing, install failed. Okay, so great thing to show this in the video. I'm not sure what that is, so I'm going to go ahead and continue and we'll see what happens. So part of the point of this is a fairly new PC with Windows 10 installed, and I wanted to kind of show you, so if I run into issues, I can show you what I did to fix them. and just kind of show you the whole process. Because obviously installing a program is a fairly simple process, so you shouldn't need a video to explain how to install a program. But if I run into any issues, like I said, this will show you. And like I've always said before, my videos I like to do kind of on the fly. I don't write out a script or anything to follow. I just sort of wing it off the top of my head. Okay, so here we go. I do not want to try for VS Code. That's for another video. So yeah, let's just don't show me that. All right, now that we have Atom installed, let me walk through a couple of the features you might find useful. You have this home page here, which you can actually access by clicking this home button or this home icon here. So if you close that, you can actually just open it back up by hitting that home button. So if you want to create a new Arduino project, you come to the PlatformIO home. You can import an existing project. So say you were using the Arduino IDE for another project. You can import that using this option. You can open a project. So this is if you if you upgraded your IDE and maybe the project isn't listed in your list of projects. But what we're going to do is click a new project. I'm going to call this, we'll just call it Blink because it's going to be a Blink. Now see, the nice thing is you have 769 boards available. So by default, the Arduino IDE only has certain boards available. They're usually the core Arduino type boards. If you wanted to use, for example, a Teensy, like what I'm using right now, I have a Teensy with me just because it's the most, it's the closest thing I had on hand. If you wanted to use a Teensy, you'd have to download the Teensy Arduino installer. You'd have to run that with the Arduino IDE, and they'd have to run in tandem. Whereas with the Atom and using PlatformIO, you don't have to do any of that. It downloads whatever additional software you need for you. And it already has the board in it. So you just search for Teensy. I'm using a Teensy 3.6. Framework is going to be Arduino. We'll just say the default location. That's fine. And we'll click Finish. All right, so it tells me successfully initialized, open the project, tells me where it's stored my project, and I can open it with, I can process it with the PlatformIO run command. Okay, so I don't need this anymore. I want to get this out of my way. All right, so over here is your project. There's a lot of folders here. You don't really need to know much about these folders because I'm just going to run through the basics. Basically, source is going to be your main project. So this looks very similar to Arduino IDE. You have your setup and your loop function. The main difference here being you have this new line, which is include Arduino.h. The Arduino IDE kind of hides this. It still technically needs it, but it's done for you, so you don't need to actually add this. But because we're in a different IDE that's not specific to Arduino, we need to put this in here so that we have access to the Arduino libraries. You have test, which that's some more advanced stuff. Lib, this is if you have any custom libraries that aren't downloadable. I'll get to that in a minute. And then includes, so if you had any files that you wanted to include in your project. And then this one is just for PlatformIO stuff. I wouldn't mess around in there. Okay, but basically I just wanted to run through a quick example of the Blink program just to show you some of the features that you get with this. So, first things first, you need to set up you need to add your setup code, which in our case we want to do pin mode. So you notice right away I typed in pin and it's giving me some different options. I have the printf function, I have the pin mode function, which in my case I want the pin mode. So I hit the down arrow to get to that, and then I hit tab. It automatically types in pin mode, types in the arguments, or the parameters for pin mode, and it highlights the first parameter for me so that I can type in whatever argument I wanted to put in there. So in this case I wanted to do LED built in, and even there it's doing it automatically. So hit tab. Okay, I'm done with this parameter. If I hit tab again, it's going to jump to the next parameter. So now I can add in this argument, and this argument is going to be output. So go ahead and do that, and now I'm done. Now the one thing I don't like necessarily about Atom is it doesn't automatically save. I know Arduino IDE doesn't do that as well, but with the Atom IDE, it won't tell you if it senses a problem unless you actually hit save. So now that I've hit save, There's nothing red on the side here, but I'll show you an example. But there's nothing red on the side, so we're good so far. So now let's move on to, we want to first turn the LED off. Oh, sorry, digital write. Okay, so we have digital write and digital write fast. I want this one, so I'm just going to hit tab. Pin is LED built in. Hit tab again to the value, and I want to output, we'll do it low first. And then we will delay. So again, delay, there's a couple of options. You have delay and delay microseconds. The nice thing here is it shows you the parameters, so it's easy to tell the difference right away, that this one is delay in milliseconds because it's msec, and this one's delay microseconds, obviously because of the name of the function, but also because it has usec here. So I want delay microseconds, and I'm going to use 1000. Again, I would normally frown upon using the value 1000 as opposed to putting that in a variable, but I'm just running through the Atom IDE and not necessarily how to write code here. So just to speed this up, I'm just going to copy these two things because we're just going to do the same thing here. And instead, we're going to make this high. Okay, hit save. Still no issues. Okay, so one thing I did want to mention is there is one other difference between, in addition to adding this statement here. If you create your own functions, so let's put this into a function. Void blink. All right. If you put this into your own function and you call blink, let's see if this does this when I save. All right, so right away it's telling me there's a problem. If I hover over this, blink was not declared in this scope. So that's kind of nice. Not only do you get this down here, which you would normally get if you hit verify on Arduino IDE, but here it's doing it before you even hit verify. Just as soon as you save, it's telling you, hey, there's a problem. It's right here at this line. And if you hover over this, it tells you what that error is. So blink was not declared in this scope. Now, the Arduino IDE also hides the fact that normally you have to declare your functions using what's called a function prototype. Okay, and it sounds fancy, but really all you have to do is copy your function declaration up to and not including the curly brace, the open curly brace. Okay, so I copy this, and then at the top of your code, paste it in, put a semicolon. So what this is doing is the compiler basically reads from top to bottom. And what it's doing is the compiler is going down, 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 and it's getting to this point where it says blink, and it's like, hey, I don't know about a function named blink. But there is a function named blink. It's just down here. So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, compiler, if you see a function called blink, even though you haven't seen the function yet, there is a function, and you will see it later on. So I'm declaring that there is a function here with this prototype. The other option is you could just move this. So now if I hit save, you'll see the error goes away. Okay, but at the same time, if you wanted to, I prefer to put my custom functions down after the loop, just because I like my custom functions down out of the way of the main code. But if you put the blink function up here, it's going to read. So if you're reading from top to bottom, it's going to read the blink first. So then when it gets here, it's going to already know about the blink function. So then it's not going to complain. See, so I hit save. There's no blue icon here. It's saved, and it's not complaining. But, you know, that gets a little messy because you're going to have all these functions. You have to scroll all the way down to get to your main void loop function in order to write your code. So I'm just going to Control Z this. Okay, so this is basically what it is. I'm going to plug in my Teensy. All right, so that's plugged in right now. And I can verify, which is called build. And that's basically just going to compile and verify that your code works. You don't need the board plugged in for that part. But here, the upload, which is the same as the Arduino upload, you do need the board plugged in. Now the nice thing here is, so as I mentioned, it automatically downloaded Teensy Arduino for me. I didn't need to download that separately. It set it up. The other nice thing is I didn't need to tell it which COM port I was connected to. I just plugged it in. It looked for the appropriate board serial or board ID through the different COM ports, and it selected one. I don't have an answer as to what would happen if I had two boards hooked up, but I do know that if you are programming, you can there is a keyword to set the COM port that you upload to. So what you could do is you could list the devices. This is getting a little too advanced. I don't want to go too much into this, but I believe PlatformIO is a command line interface. So there's PlatformIO. You can type out PlatformIO, or you can just type in for short PIO. And I think it's called PlatformIO devices. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, there's a way to list the devices that are plugged in. And you can find the port, copy the name, and then you can put that into your PlatformIO.ini. And that's just the configuration for your platform. And likewise, if you wanted to change the board, you could either add another one. So if I wanted to change this to, say, an Uno, I could call this my Uno environment. The platform is called Atmel AVR, and the board is called Uno. And you can see those boards and those things. Okay, so anyway, before I get to that, the easiest way to do this, I would say, don't worry about learning all this stuff about PlatformIO. Just comment this part out. And now if I try to upload this, or I try to build it, rather, you'll see it said Uno at the top there. And then if I try to upload, it's not gonna work. So it's processing Uno. It's uploading, but it's not going to work because I have a Teensy plugged in. Okay, and yeah, so I got that typical AVR dude SDK, which you usually get if your Arduino is either broken or if it's just not responding for some reason. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly how to stop this. I assume it will stop by itself after a while. Let me see. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. I don't know if that stopped or if it's running in the background or what. But, okay, so if I go back to my PlatformIO IDE home, you can go to boards here and click Uno. And now I see Arduino Uno is right here. So if I click this, it actually opened up a website, and you couldn't see it there, but it tells you the information, and it tells you exactly how you'd set that up in your PlatformIO .ini file. So you can see environment Uno. This can be whatever you want. You could call it Uno 1, Uno 2 if you had like two different Unos, or I guess that wouldn't make sense, but platform, board, and then there's some additional information here. Okay, so that's helpful for that. And that's basically what you do. I did want to quickly run through how you would write a program that requires a library, because PlatformIO has its own library manager, which is helpful. So let's say, right now I don't have any installed. So I'm going to search through the registry. I don't necessarily know exactly where the libraries in the registry come from. I know that you can manually register a new library if you have a custom library. I'm not going to get into that. You can also install libraries. But basically, if there's a pretty common library, it will be in here. So I'm going to look for QTR sensors, and because I know that's one I use quite often. There are two different ones. This one's written by Pololu itself, so I think I'll go with that one. You click it, you can see the examples, so that's nice. You can see the examples right off the bat. You can see how that you'll include it into your project, which I'll get into that in a second. The headers, so you know which include statement you need when you go to include it in your program. And then this stuff you don't need to worry about. So let's click install. And if you wanted to, you can install an older version. So now if I go to installed, I see it here. And now basically I can use this in any project. And all I do is I go to installation, and it says I just need to include the library name. I can use the library ID, which is going to be specific to your library or your computer. And you can actually go to a specific version. So if you wanted to use 4.0 for one of your projects, and maybe you wanted to use 3.1 or whatever the other versions were for another project, you could do that as well using the @ symbol. Okay, so I'll close this and I will go back to my main program. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to the libraries so that I can get to the example. But what I would do is I'm just going to, you know what? I'll create a new project for this. So new project, we'll call it QTR test. We'll do this for the teensy as well. Now I don't actually have a circuit running, and I'm not using my camera, so I can't show you guys what's going on anyway, even if I did. But I'll just show you that it does actually upload. You'll see the teensy Arduino program come up and upload the program. Okay, use default location. It's initializing. And now by default, it doesn't have any libraries set up. So I'm going to close everything relating to my Hello World, or my Blink project. And we're going to go to this one. Okay, and it said, and I copied the, I copied the project. Here we go. So let's paste this in here. Oh, okay, it did not paste properly. All right, so it was libdeps equals, and let's see if it autofills for me. QTR, no, but I know it was called QTR sensors, so I'll leave it at that. And again, if I wanted to use a specific version, I could use the @ symbol and use a specific version. So now if I hit save, let me hit save on this. I should be able to include, oops, QTR sensors .h. Okay, save. No errors. All right, let's. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. So automatically, you're getting autocomplete suggestions based on stuff from the QTR sensors library. So a QTR sensors object, I'll call it QTR. And then down here, you do your setup. For example, let's say qtr.set sensors, sensor pins. Whoops. I hit the down arrow, even though there was only one option, so it skipped right out of there. Okay, so this would be my array of pins. I'm not going to bother with that. Well, yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. Because basically I just wanted to show you how you would include a library. So let me just do qtr.setDimmable, and we'll leave it at that, I think. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's test this by doing a verify. Success. Upload. All right, so it worked. Let me just show you. If I do this and I push the button to upload it, it rebooted. Okay, so, and it's no longer blinking, so the code was uploaded properly. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover as far as setting up the Atom IDE with PlatformIO. It's a little bit more to deal with than the Arduino IDE because you have to add your libraries through the PlatformIO.ini, and you have to set up your environment through the ini. But you get all the benefits of having the autocomplete. One other nice feature is that if you put in the incorrect function, it will tell you right away, hey, QTR Sensors has no member named setDimmable. It'd be nice if it suggested a solution or what you might like, hey, did you mean to put dimmable with an E? But you know, some IDEs do have that. Atom does not, but Atom is a very nice IDE that's easy to use while still being a step up from the Arduino IDE. So I would suggest if you are looking for something with a little bit more features than the Arduino IDE, but you don't want to get too much involved into the nitty-gritty of all this stuff, then go ahead and try the Atom IDE. I'll be doing some other videos covering other IDEs, such as VS Code. I know I'm going to cover that one, and I'm also going to cover Sea Lion. So stay tuned for those. But I hope this helped you out, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe.